Hi, I'm Leah Hoyer. I'm the narrative design director at ArenaNet, working on Guild Wars 2.
So we're here at Comic-Con. Talk about what you're doing here.
Well, I was on a panel on creating multiplayer worlds. So a lot about storytelling for MMOs, for online spaces, for places where a lot of players can come together, like in Guild Wars 2.
What are the challenges of creating a story that essentially never ends because an online world keeps going?
Well, it's both a challenge, but it's also really fun because of the fact that it much more mimics the world that we all live in, so it's one of those things where you get the chance to set things in motion, but also think about the way that they would actually play out if this world were a reality. And we're creating a reality and a space, and so you want to make sure that it's full of a variety of storylines as well. And sometimes different storylines come together, sometimes they completely wrap up on their own, and you also need to have a rich group of characters and a good number of characters that all have a really nice, well thought out background, well thought out point of view, so that when they come to the situation, it's not just about all the events that may happen in the world, but how those events impact those characters that hopefully the players really get to know and love.
And what is new when it comes to Arena and that expanding world?
Well, we are right now working on our first expansion, Heart of Thorns, and it's really exciting because ArenaNet has had, and Guild Wars has had, the episodic storytelling model. So we've been updating the story regularly, but there is going to be a nice, juicy chunk of content where some really pivotal things happen that build off of all the things that we've been developing over the last 3 years, and also then set us up to tell even more stories. So it's really exciting.
So what can you tell us about what's going to happen?
Well, for those people who are aware of where Guild Wars 2 wrapped up, the Sylvari race certainly has a really major turning point right now. Mordramoth, the Elder Dragon, created the entire Sylvari race. It was revealed to be its minions. And right at the end of our last season of Living World Story, we saw that Mordramoth basically called all of them to be its minions. And so a lot of them heard the call and turned and are now evil. And so to go into this world where we know we want to go and rid the world of this threat of Mordramoth, and so we're going to enter the jungle and we're going to get closer to that. But we also now have to do that knowing that a lot of the people that we were serving alongside with and that we were fighting alongside with may no longer be our friends. And may, even the people who are closest to us, there's always the chance that any Sylvari could kind of turn. That includes you as a player character. Like, you as a player character, if you're playing Sylvari, it's going to be a really interesting game coming up. So I really recommend that everybody play through the whole story of Heart of Thorns, both as a Sylvari and as a non-Sylvari, because there will be a significantly different experience in that.
What role does fan feedback and interaction in this world play as you guys are developing and expanding the story?
We really love hearing from our fans and hearing what their feedback is. Along the way, as we've been doing a lot of this episodic storytelling, every time we put out something, there are people who are all over the forums talking about what they liked, what they weren't so sure about, asking questions. And so we do always look at where are those major areas, where do we start to see trends where people get really excited, say, about a character? Where do people get excited about a certain storyline? And that absolutely influences how much time we may spend with that person, with that story, and where we may go in the future. We do have a good sense, and part of it is my job to figure out, like, where are we going to be a year from now? Where are we going to be 3 or 5 years from now? And we know generally where we absolutely want to go, and we're laying a lot of that foundation right now. But as this continues to grow and as we're getting into more and more of those details, there's absolutely kind of a flexibility with some of that. And as we start to see that fans particularly are responding to a certain region, to a certain story, to a certain character, that could absolutely have an impact on what we do.
Cool. When is this new expansion coming out?
Well, we have not announced our launch date yet. We are in pre-purchase, and we are beta testing in the near future. All the people who have pre-purchased are going to be involved in beta test weekends, and we take those really seriously. So we absolutely want our players to get in en masse and be able to test out some of the content and for us to be able to take some of the feedback. So we need to make sure that we're giving ourselves the flexibility to be able to if we find some things that are not balanced, some things that people are wanting to see more of or wanting to see less of, we can make adjustments. And we're certainly not wanting to extend this for that much longer. We're hoping that's going to happen in the near future. We want everyone to be able to play and enjoy the expansion. But we do want to make sure that we are able to incorporate that feedback. So it's finding that balance.